The Nissan Magnite has been in the market for quite a while now, so I'm not here to review it. In fact, this entire discussion started with me saying that I don't like CVTs. And my friends at Nissan said, "You've not driven our CVT just yet." So I said, well, let me put it to test, and I'm going to take it to Kodaikanal, where I am currently. And I feel that CVTs, because they have such a rubber band effect, it would be more pronounced in the hills. And that's why I wanted to really drive the Magnite CVT out in the hills and prove to Nissan that I'm right and that they're wrong and that CVTs are not fun. But having said that, I think my opinion about CVTs has changed. So in this video, I'm going to be telling you about my experience of driving the Magnite CVT in and around Kodai and what it's been like and all the pros and cons that I've come across with the Magnite CVT. Right, so getting down to driving the Magnite with the CVT in Kodai has been quite the revelation. As I said, I was not a big fan of CVTs. I mean, I've driven CVTs in the city, I've driven CVTs on the highway, and in all honesty, apart from them just being great in terms of cruising and being very smooth and refined, there is that rubber band effect that you just can't seem to get rid of, apparently. But Nissan has managed to prove me wrong, because out here in Kodai, dealing with a lot of terrain, dealing with driving up in the hills, narrow roads, bumpy roads, steep inclines, whatnot, you want a transmission that is going to give you the best in terms of response, in terms of response time. You need to overtake quickly. There's a lot of these elements that hill driving becomes very demanding of. And a CVT in my books was just not going to live up to that standard. But having said that, and having used the Magnite out here now for about a month, I have actually been very impressed by the way the CVT performs. It is effortless to drive, it makes it so convenient, and it does the shifts in like a precision level of time. And that's something that I've really appreciated about the way that the Magnite drives. It's extremely responsive. You step on the accelerator, you really feel that surge of power. You can do quick overtaking maneuvers. It's never struggled, it's never left me wanting for more. Even on tight corners where you come around a bend and it's a nice tight uphill corner, a lot of vehicles tend to run out of steam over there, but I've not felt that in the Magnite at all. So it's not even happened once to me out here in Kodai. And trust me, I've been doing a lot of driving. Kodai, after all, is a very beautiful place, and going in and around town, heading out towards the inner roads that lead to the nice mountainside, to scenic areas. I've just been taking the Magnite everywhere, and it has just been so convenient to the level where I would say that this is a vehicle that I have recommended to a lot of friends here in Kodai, just telling them that, look, you don't need a manual, you don't need to have that sort of transmission. Here you have a vehicle that's compact, really nice to drive, comfortable, and also with the right amount of ground clearance. After all, the Magnite does sell as a compact SUV, and Nissan has sorted out a lot with it. Well, before I get talking about the CVT again, let me just digress a bit and talk about the Magnite over here. I mean, Nissan has put together quite the package with this vehicle. It's a nice compact SUV, yet it is amazingly spacious on board. Up front, tall drivers like me are seated and positioned very comfortably. The ergonomics are great. The rear seat is again very commendable in terms of space that you get on board. All my friends have actually been very wowed by that fact. And you also get a decent amount of boot space. So if you are going to have this as your primary vehicle, you do have a lot going for you. And it is available at a brilliant price point, which is the added benefit of the Magnite. And it is available at a brilliant price point, which is the added benefit of the Magnite. But having said that, you do get a nice turbo 1-liter engine with the CVT model. And if I'm right, it turns out close to about 100 horsepower, which is more than ample for a vehicle of this size, which actually makes it rather peppy to drive. So that, coupled with the CVT, is a very nice, potent mix, and you do get a very responsive vehicle to take around town. So being out here in Kodai, driving in the hills, I just figured that this would be the greatest place to actually put the CVT to test, because, you know, flat roads, they can be, they can throw you off in terms of what you actually believe the performance is. But it's in the hills that you truly get to enjoy what Nissan has actually managed to do with this CVT, because the hills are more demanding. They really do stress out the vehicle in terms of all the inclines and everything that I've mentioned earlier. So you really get to put all of this to the test. And that's where I'm coming from, where I wanted to really drive this up in the hills to try and prove Nissan wrong and say that, look, CVTs have that rubber band effect even in the plains and on flat roads. In the hills, they're just going to be very taxing to drive. But I've been proved wrong. Nissan, you're correct. I want you to know that your CVT is possibly the best CVT that I have driven in a car that is meant for the masses. And that is saying a lot about what you managed to do with the Magnite. And I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart, because after having used this in and around town, gone up and down the ghat, used it up here in the hills, it is something that wins you over. And not just me. I've had friends drive this vehicle. I've taken friends out on test drives, and all of them have actually had exactly that to say. The other bit that they have to say about the Magnite, and it's got nothing to do with the CVT, but it's just something I want to point out in this video, is that they are very impressed with the way it handles. Now that is also something that is a big takeaway, because when you're driving in the hills, the other thing that you do want is a vehicle that handles really well and takes corners, does all of that. So I've really enjoyed the fact that you can enjoy driving the Magnite around. The CVT is brilliant, it's responsive, it's fast, it keeps that pace going, the engine is beautiful, and you get a vehicle that handles really well. And of course, with the added ground clearance that it is, after all, it is a compact SUV, you can deal with a little bit of the rough stuff and rough roads too. So overall, my take on the Magnite is that Nissan has definitely put in a lot of work to get it right. And you can just see that I went through a nice bump over there. But yeah, so going back to what I was just saying, Nissan has done a lot of work in getting the Magnite just right. It is something that wins you over with its practicality. The CVT obviously is a boon no matter where you drive it. And of course, the fact that you've got something that's nice and spacious, comfortable, and good for a nice small family is probably the icing on the cake. So on that note, I'm just going to sum up what I have to say over here. And that is that, one, I was wrong about the CVT. Two, the Magnite is a really fun vehicle to drive up in the hills and on open roads as well. But it's in the hills that I've truly enjoyed its dynamics. So the handling, the way it powers up, all of that is absolutely brilliant. And number three, the fact that you're getting it at a brilliant price point makes it just such a wonderful deal on wheels. Well, there you have it. So the CVT, in fact, is actually a delight to drive. I've been using this vehicle for a month, as I said earlier, and it has just been such a boon in the hills. I love the fact that you don't really feel that rubber band effect. I love the fact that it goes from the get-go. You step on the accelerator and it just moves. There's a lot to like about the way the CVT performs in the Nissan. And if you take my word for it, I would say it's one of the best CVTs out there in the market, which makes the Magnite a great choice for you if you're looking for a nice compact SUV that's going to take you up in the hills, around town, or on a nice road trip as well. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you do have any further questions, feel free to write in, drop me a comment. It is my promise that I answer every comment that comes in on the MOTORSCRIBES channel. So if you have any further questions about the Magnite CVT or want to know something specific about the CVT and its performance, do leave me a line below.